and a mechanic, without him or her, the tools, the money is irrelevant.
Head of Public Service Felix Koskei not mincing his words on the spiraling corruption in the sector and the need to weed out the vice.
How do we turn around? As much as the government is creating an enabling environment, as much as all of us agree that we need to take a particular trajectory, can we see our morals, can we see our social space? How are we going to return back the profession that we knew and that we know back where it was?
You cannot be the doctor who comes and hands your dashboard. And when patients are coming to queue, you are nowhere to be seen. And at the end of the day, you expect a reward. It doesn't happen. It will not happen as we move forward. We want everybody to meet their end of the bargain.
While the sector's over 125,000 human resources is mainly employed by the county government, Health CS Suzanne Nahumicha calling for concerted effort to help root out challenges that have seen the sector plagued by constant labor strife.
And I know, as a cabinet secretary in charge of public service, that there are some outstanding issues there, issues to do with especially the collective bargaining agreement. And I know that that's a conversation we have to continue to have. But that conversation and that engagement must continue to be driven by the values that we have got a shared destiny and a shared responsibility.
But as a national government, we cannot close our eyes. Neither can we close our ears to their pleas. Because there is no patient or there is no Kenyan who is a patient of the county government and a patient of the national government. All patients are Kenyans.
The leaders also want the issue of harmonization dealt with to address disparities in remuneration in the sector, which has been a major bone of contention over the years. Teaching and referral hospitals also came under scrutiny for usurping medical training colleges' mandate and embarking on training nurses.
So we need to regulate so that we know it is only on those specific trainings that then those facilities can be allowed to do, but allow these other institutions to be able to carry out with their mandate.
The 3-day conference discussed how to leverage on technology as the government embarks on the digitization of health systems, financing and human resources in health as major pillar to turn around the ailing sector. Achola Simon, Prime Edition, Kericho County.
Well, time for us to take our first breather on Prime Edition when we come back with more news lined up for you, including business and sports, and later on our conversation on the upcoming Mashijade and governance 13 years on since the promulgation of the Constitution. We have the Honorable Francis Mwangangi, the Deputy Governor Machakos County, as well as the Honorable Kasim Tandaza, the Member of Parliament for Matuga. We'll be catching up with them a little bit later, but for now, the breather.
Holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023. It is now easier to report and surrender. Visit www.ufaa.go.ke and get started. Beat the November 1st deadline. It is your turn to surrender and report qualifying unclaimed financial assets. Pass the baton. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Mungu awabariki sana.
Ni wengi wanakushukuru bila hata wewe kufahamu.
Niliona Mungu wa ajabu ameshuka.
Ni wengi wanaokuaminia.
Imejaa, imebaki, yani hamtasabi.
Ni wengi wanaokuombea ushindi.
Hawa ndio niachiwe na mama yao wakati aligojeka kwa muda.
Ni wengi unaowagusa kwa kuwapa afueni na imani ya maisha.
Asante na Mungu akubariki pia.
Ni wengi unawatembelea.
Through hii program ndo tunajua vitu zingine.
Na imani yako inawapa amani.
Akaaga juu ya kansa.
Ushindi wako ni wa wengi.
Roma niendanga, Roma.
Asante mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Kenyans, I want to take this opportunity as the Cabinet Secretary for Health to invite you to Kericho County on the 20th of October, where His Excellency the President shall be launching officially the universal health coverage. Come and witness over 4,000 community health promoters from across the county. They'll be showcasing what it is that we have been able to put together as a ministry. Welcome, Kenyans.
Welcome back. You're watching the Prime Edition. Over 10,000 school-going children in Nairobi informal settlements are set to benefit from a hand-washing hygiene program launched. The month-long campaign is set to extend crucial support to Kibra and Mathare slums. In Kisii County, students at Riokindo High School in Bomachoge have been sent home after one of their dormitories was razed by a fire. The story and more in our county news wrap.
The back of your
Ahead of the Global Hand Washing Day, Dettol has launched a month-long campaign that is said to benefit over 10,000 school-going children in the informal settlement of Nairobi.
Our dedication extends to driving access to quality hygiene products designed to protect against bacteria and illnesses.
Meanwhile, a community water project worth 10 million shillings has been launched at Gianchere in Kisii Central Sub-County.
It is one of the projects that we are doing across the 18 counties where we operate. And basically what we are doing is to integrate our programs to ensure that we improve the livelihoods of the people living within the Lake Victoria catchment area.
Still in Kisii County, students at Riokindo High School in Bomachoge have been sent home after one of their dormitories was razed by fire. There were no casualties, however, property worth millions of shillings was lost.
We are not able to ascertain the cause of the fire. But all that we know, there were some power blackouts in our school. And when the power finally came, we saw the fire.
In Kiambu County, farmers, both small and medium enterprises, are said to benefit from the unveiling of multi-billion storage facilities at Tatu City in Ruiru.
Now, the value chains we target range from agriculture all the way to pharmaceuticals. And in between, we also intend to add value to food processors and food manufacturers, our fast food chains, etc.
Finally, police in Githunguri Sub-County, Kiambu County, recovered 6 dairy cows.
Wale wananua mang'ombe aswa kutoka sehemu za Githunguri wanjiadhari ng'ombe inatoka wapi. Na sisi hatutaki wakulima wa Githunguri wangaishwe wakulima wa Gatundu ama wakulima halali.
Now, over the years, the issues of criminal gangs, corruption, electoral and ethnic violence and their interconnections have become more mainstream in discussions about Kenya's obstacles to democratization and its prospects for sustainable development. The film Mtaa Yangu, which is our focus tonight on our weekly segment Cinemas and Theatre, depicts the challenges that gangs bring to the communities where they terrorize businesses and disrupt peace.
The film Mtaa Yangu, an action-filled film, revolves around Kiprotich, a local gang leader and his crew who extort taxes from the people of Mwiki Town. In this environment, another crime lord, Ghana G, emerges, offering the town's residents a higher voice and security. The tranquility of Mwiki Town is, however, shattered when the Member of Parliament and the Governor announced plans of foreign investment leading to eviction notices for the residents. Directed by Likale Muyonga, Mtaa Yangu delves into the criminal underworld of Mwiki Town, revealing a world where gangs terrorize businesses and politicians scheme to seize land from innocent residents.
Concept I was given by Moses Ngwiri. It's been a 3-year journey, but last year Benteke came on board, Bernard Ojua. We wrote it together. We spent sleepless nights just coming up with this amazing, incredible story. It's a story that we can relate with because it's what happens every day in informal settlements.
The film boasts a cast of renowned actors and actresses and at the same time introduces new talents, showcasing the untapped potential of the Kenyan film industry. The cast includes Makovo Mbatha as Ghana G, Sasha Orenge as Wambui, Collins Likavo as Luther, among others.
G is quite a heavy role. How I prepared for it? One, I watched a lot of movies, that I won't lie. And then I observed Makanga vile wanabehavingi. I had to deal with someone who I know is ako kwa crime. So I had to sit them down and just listen to them and ask how their psychology is tempered with.
I had a journey with the script because it was there when I'm part of the production. So during the writing of the script, I was there. The involvement of the script, I was there. So I kind of had had time with all the characters, just not my character. So by the time it was getting for me to shoot, it was actually easy for me because I had already familiarized myself with the character for over 6 months.
Will you be my girlfriend? The assumption that film is an easy task is very wrong. It's a huge misconception. And it's heavy on you because after the first take, you have to relive the second take with continuity, with the same flow, and keep your emotion alive. It's not an easy thing. And remember, this is not you. You're living in someone else's spirit. It's not an easy thing.
To save the residents of Mwiki, Ghana G hatches a plan that would see him quit his life in crime. However, he first has to rob money from the MP. Will he succeed?
My movies is actually going to be also showing it. So for people who can download my movies, we're going to be having screening dates being aired every time. I think either in town or wherever. We're going to share it on all our social media platforms so that anyone who did not come for the premiere scheduled on 6th can at least have time to still go see it.
No sacrificing us one after the other. Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Well, an interesting film there. Time for us now to usher in business with Wairi Mojenga, and she has very interesting statistics on what men and women do at home. That is domestic chores.
Yes, true. That is a report that has been released by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, or rather the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, on what time that is spent by women doing domestic work and also compared to men. Now we kick it off from there, where women spend 4.2 hours on unpaid domestic and care work daily compared to men who spend 0.8 hours of their time on the same. According to the Kenya Time Use Survey by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, Marsabit County reported the highest proportion of time spent by women at 30.2%, translating to 7 hours daily, followed by Wajir, Samburu, Mandera, and Garissa.
A wonderful launch.
The key findings of the report shows how women and men allocate and spend their time on specific activities over a 24-hour period of the population age of 15 years and above. In Kenya's first ever Kenya Time Use report, it emerged that persons aged above 15 years spend approximately 3 hours on unpaid work, with women under similar circumstances contributing 5 times higher compared to men in unpaid domestic and care work.
The production of the Kenya Time Use Survey reports was motivated by the need to measure time spent on unpaid domestic and care work, the participation of women and men in system of national accounts.
In terms of employment, the report shows that 54.1% of men are engaged in employment and related activities compared to 33.4% of women. On the other hand, more women at 46.3% than men's at 39.2% were involved in production of goods for their own final use.
As Kenya looks forward to being an upper middle income country, to become really a powerhouse within Africa. I don't think it can afford to lose the participation of women or the potential productivity of women.
Besides accelerating achievement of gender equality and women empowerment in Kenya, the objective of the survey is to measure data to inform formulation of policy and programs.
It is entrusted with the responsibility of ensuring that statistical data production is aligned with international standards, methodologies, and best practices.
We anticipate that the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics will institutionalize these surveys and conduct them periodically to monitor progress.
The report recommends mainstreaming time use surveys, inclusion of unpaid work in the system of national accounts and policy interventions. Alanako, Prime Edition.
A regional ICT solutions firm has established the first modern practical assessment center in Nairobi that will help improve the quality of ICT workers recruited in the country. Now, the facility offers human resources managers and chief technology officers a platform for testing job seekers' practical knowledge of various ICT tasks and assignments.
Some employers are forced to restart a recruitment process soon after hiring. This is because they find themselves with an employee who cannot perform duties assigned. To rectify this, a Nairobi-based ICT solutions firm has established a modern practical assessment center where job seekers will be evaluated on their ability to meet specific job requirements and their skills assessed in areas such as coding, programming, system design, and database management.
However, without having the right skills, that technology is actually a waste. It's not going to be utilized the right way. And for this reason, we are also helping to build capacity in these particular technologies.
Kituonyi says employers have to incur additional investment in training costs and in some cases loss of crucial time, since the gap between practical skills and theoretical knowledge that many ICT workers display at the point of being recruited is a high of 60%.
Our key call to the regulator was to try and ensure that the standards are maintained and they are being followed, and if possible, not just to provide them for the public sector, but also to the private sector.
The ICT authority say the government is leveraging promotion of research and development, nurturing tech startups and innovation to anchor Kenya's digital economy.
Among the flagship program is the establishment of 2 major software industries that will employ over 120,000 software engineers to develop software and systems for the region and for the global market.
They said Kenya lags behind when it comes to the number of specialized IT professionals, mainly because most of those in the pool have paper certificates and not the skills required in the job market.
As the government steps up efforts of transforming the economy digitally, small and medium entrepreneurs from rural areas will be targeted in the digital skilling program, which targets 20 million citizens. Reporting for Prime Edition from Nairobi, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Thank you, Mwoki, for that story. Now, smallholder farmers in Kenya are increasingly transitioning from rain-fed farming, which is susceptible to drought, and embracing irrigation to secure yields. Davis and Shatleaf Group Technical Director, Engineer Philip Holly, has attributed this shift to a growing awareness among farmers, including smallholder farmers, regarding the advantages of irrigation in improving crop yields.
Smallholder farming in Kenya accounts for 75% of the total agricultural output, with farmers' operations varying in size from 0.2 to 3 hectares. Davis and Shadleaf says the adoption of affordable and efficient irrigation technologies such as drip irrigation has been gaining popularity among smallholder farmers in Kenya. Davis and Shadleaf Group Technical Director, Engineer Philip Hawley, stressed the importance of increased investment in water harvesting, storage and distribution infrastructure to ensure reliable water supply for agricultural activities. The decline in water tables due to climate change makes drilling of boreholes more challenging and necessitates deeper drilling to reach viable water sources. Holly says the adoption of advanced drilling technologies has enabled more efficient exploration and extraction of groundwater, even in arid and semi-arid areas. Betty Kiptum, Prime Edition.
Now, Kenya will take at least 3 years to complete construction of a bulk storage facility for liquefied petroleum gas, that is LPG, a project that is expected to cut the cost of cooking gas by 30%. Here's Trevor Ngendo with the details.
The high cost of cooking gas is partially attributed to a lack of bulk LPG storage facility. This has seen consumers bearing high costs due to demurrage charges and private storage fees in Mombasa. To address this, the government is in the final stages of converting the Kenya Petroleum Refineries facility into a bulk LPG storage facility.
In terms of LPG, the current storage capacity at KPRL is 1,200 metric tons. That will be supplemented by the bulk LPG project, which then initially is targeted at 30,000 metric tons.
So the takeover was at zero cost because basically moving from one government entity to another. Currently, we are converting 5 tanks at Kenya Petroleum Refineries for additional storage. And again, this will go a long way in terms of reducing the demurrage that Wanji could do in car.
As it marks its 50th anniversary, the Kenya Pipeline Company is focusing on harnessing the existing petroleum infrastructure as well as an investment of up to 2 billion shillings over the last 4 years on the 370-acre land in Changamwe to position Kenya to serve the domestic and regional market.
We want to make East Africa, through KPRL, as a trading hub for the region, and therefore making Mombasa as the gateway for the region. The conversations we have with government today is not to use more of our money, but to partner with private sector. And one of them will be the LPG. Seeing a lot of private sector participation in some of the big projects.
This new Kipevu oil terminal has a capacity of 4,500 cubic meters per hour. This means it can offload in under just 30 hours, an improvement from the initial 1,600 cubic meters per hour that would take up to 4 days. This new plant serves as a critical point for the import, storage and distribution of petroleum products, serving the broader East African region. The new terminal, commissioned last year, also features a liquid petroleum gas facility, crude oil and heavy fuel oil. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
A land allocation to investors at a 3,000 acres Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone will kick off soon. This is according to Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano, who has committed to eliminate bureaucracies that have delayed the process for more than 6 months. Completion of Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone will pave way for investors to lease land on a long-term basis for the construction of industrial warehouses and factories. This process has faced delays, which Miano has vowed to address.
You have a manufacturer who is ready, and the only thing that is delaying them is a decision on land allocation at Dongo Kundu. And so I will take that up with the utmost speed so that it is resolved and we minimize the delay. We need to attract manufacturers.
The Special Economic Zone is expected to stimulate the manufacturing sector, create jobs, enhance maritime activities, and increase foreign direct investment to Kenya.
I have seen that the cost of production is quite high. I believe that's a hard dialogue that we need to have. Our ministry needs to lead that dialogue in the country to see how we can reduce the cost of manufacturing for various products.
Of course, cost of energy has been an issue, but we also look at it as a challenge, but now it's an opportunity for us to look at how we can work on it together.
Speaking when she toured the Mili Glass Manufacturing Factory in Mombasa, the Cabinet Secretary commended the factory on its plan to shift to the Dongo Kundu Special Economic Zone in January next year.
The most exciting things today is that this company has in their plans a plan to expand their plant and to even start manufacturing pharmaceutical bottles. Currently, we are importing 100% of pharmaceutical bottles.
Now we move on to other stories making headlines. Now, Absa Bank has committed 100 billion shillings for funding micro, small and medium enterprises over the next 3 years. Absa Kenya CEO Abdi Mohamed says funding line is expected to improve the resilience of the sector by offering ready access to working capital. We have details of that coming up later on this broadcast. By now, moving on to what is happening in Eldoret at the engineers conference, where engineers are calling on the government to fast track the process of settling pending bills, noting that the engineers profession is among the most affected by the delayed payments. Members of the Association of Consulting Engineers of Kenya want the newly established Cabinet Pending Bills Verification Committee to hasten audit of the pending bills.
You have been awarded a job to supply, say, furniture, supply stationery, and so on and so forth, and you're not paid. So you actually end up being worse off with a job that if you didn't have the job. It's a very sad state of affairs. And we know a government is supposed to be a going concern. So I hope that once they verify those documents, the people who are owed money will be sorted out, because the government should also realize once they pay me, it is not money in my pocket. I have employees who depend on me. Those employees pay house rent, they educate their children. So money is meant to circulate in the economy.
The other problem that is there also is that the little work that is available with the state agencies, the agencies have chosen to carry out their own work without involving the consultants. And you see, that is, we depend on the work that the agencies, government agencies, have to ensure that we survive. So there's a problem.
Now to the area story that I had read about Absa Kenya, which has committed 100 billion shillings for funding micro, small and medium enterprises over the next 3 years. Here is that story.
Even though 90% of jobs created in Kenya are from informal sector, most of the micro, small and medium enterprises are usually out of business before their 5th anniversary. This is mainly due to, among others, challenges accessing capital, standardization of products, market access and expertise. Absa Bank Kenya is seeking to address this by availing 100 billion shillings in sustainable finance solutions and expertise for these businesses.
Absa is committed and remains committed to this sector. We believe that the future of our country lies very much within this particular sector. We will continue to provide support, not just financial, but also in all the other elements that we have spoken about.
We are treating SME sectors, and I know that the Chamber is good in that, CAM is good in that. Can we then look for opportunities to work together and see how we can support these clusters? Because access to finance, based on well-structured capacity building, will really provide the solutions that our people need.
Still on financial matters, Family Bank is seeking to raise 10 billion shillings through a mix of rights issue and from new shareholders via a private placement. Proceeds from the sale of the 800 million new shares will be used for onward lending, strengthening the bank's capital base, as well as for local and regional expansion plans. Finally, female-led enterprises are set to receive 22 billion shillings over the next 10 years under an accelerator program by Kuramo Capital Management Firm. The program seeks to address the funding and knowledge gap for the women businesses, which is a major barrier to inclusive, sustainable economic and social development. Edna Murungi for Prime Edition.
Now to some good news for tea farmers, where Kenya has received the first consignment of 47,800 tons of subsidized fertilizer for tea. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi says another consignment is expected to bring in a similar volume of subsidized fertilizer for tea farmers in 2 weeks. Linturi says the government is reforming the tea value chain with a view of ensuring farmers get the best out of the cash crop.
Na hii ndio meli ya kwanza kufika. In another 2 weeks meli ingine inafika, and we expect in this from now on up to the month of November our farmers in the tea sector will be able to receive enough fertilizer for application in their own farms. All the value chains that we are really focused on are on course, and I think we've just agreed and we are working with the leadership of KTT, the county governments and the national government to be able to provide resources to do common user facilities to hand value for our tea, so that at least farmers are able to sell finished products.
That marks the end of business news tonight. On the other end of the studio, we have Bane Dukumu with the day's sport, and later on, JJ with the live interview. My name is Weri Mojenga. Have a good night.
All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023.
Kwa hivyo Bazenga unasema wewe ni mtu ya mbogi ya ulolo.
Sasa wewe unaongelesha huu mzee lugha gani?
Nasema tena timia ati nilisukuma wewe. Nikileza mahakama, wheelchair yako ulikuja weka lock. Normally usipoweka lock itarudisha reverse. Ikarudisha wewe reverse, ikaende kaangusha wewe huko.
Orongo tu tupu. Wewe kazi yako ilikuwa umeletewa mgonjwa utibu ama uangalie kama ana marasmus ama anafanya vitu gani?
I was supposed to treat him.
Na mbona hukufanya hiyo ilikuwa unatakiwa?
Akarudi nyuma.
Pass the baton. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Tuache kudanganyana. Hapa mali safi, mali mbichi, kijani kibichi. Tuko Lucky Game. Tunashibishana. Dial *570# chagua sanduku ya Lucky Game. Utapata sanduku 7 zinakungoja mahali pale. Chagua yako. Mali kibao, tuko na viti, tuko na vifriji hapa, tuko na TV, tuko na microwave, na pia tuko na chapa. All happening kwa *570#. Jishibishe.
Kwa hivyo Bazenga unasema wewe ni mtu ya mbogi ya ulolo.
Sasa wewe unaongelesha huu mzee lugha gani?
Nasema tena timia ati nilisukuma wewe. Nikileza mahakama, wheelchair yako ulikuja weka lock. Normally usipoweka lock itarudisha reverse. Ikarudisha wewe reverse, ikaende kaangusha wewe huko.
Orongo tu tupu. Wewe kazi yako ilikuwa umeletewa mgonjwa utibu ama uangalie kama ana marasmus ama anafanya vitu gani?
I was supposed to treat him.
Na mbona hukufanya hiyo ilikuwa unatakiwa?
Akarudi nyuma.
Sasa mimi nampatianga msosi, nampikia msosi, vitu kama hizo.
Msosi nini?
Chakula.
Endelea.
Wewe ulisaliwa wapi wewe?
Wewe.
Vitu kama hizo ujue.
Wewe endelea.
Umesema unaitwa Sylvester.
In short silly.
Silly. Silly.
Yes.
Mse, ukaboleta hospitali.
Ndio.
Nikienda kumutibu, wheelchair ikarudi nyuma. Si ndio?
Hapana, no. Wewe ndio ulimsukuma. Sema ukweli ndio hii mahakama ikunyonge.
Let us go slowly.
Ni kweli, hiyo ndio kitu imebaki.
And thank you for joining us on Prime Edition Sports. I'm Bernard Okumu. Let's begin with the local sports, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba has affirmed the government's commitment in developing sports in the country at the grassroots level. Now speaking during the unveiling of sponsorship to football teams in Rwai, the CS called on the youth to exploit their talents in order to represent Kenya in different international assignments.
6 football teams, namely Victor's Faith FC, Mwiki United, Rwai United, Kasarani Football Club, Majimazuri FC and the sole female team, the Roy Starlets, today received kits and cash sponsorship from SportPesa. Speaking during the event, Sports CS Ababu Namwamba noted that the government is planning to introduce grassroots leagues that will go a long way to scouting players who will be trained in the Kenya Academy of Sports to strengthen the sports in the coming days.
Chini ya mwaka mmoja tunarejesha kandanda ya Kenya kwenye ile hadhi inayostahili. Ligi yetu imerejea. Na ingawa tulikuwa na matatizo hapo mbeleni, ligi sasa imeanza kushika.
Also in attendance was SportPesa CEO and MP for Kasarani, Honorable Ronald Garauri, who promised to expand sponsorship to different clubs across the country. He also noted that the 5 million sponsorship will cater for the team's logistics and the team's upkeep.
Rising Starlets, our under-20 team, did very well the other day. Wamefunga Angola mabao 10-1 in that second round of the qualifiers. So boys, if you're not careful, the girls are coming for you.
For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendo.
And to golf now, over 200 golfers are expected to participate in the KCB East Africa Golf Tour at the 18-hole Kigali Golf Course this coming weekend. Meanwhile, 12 junior golf players are among the beneficiaries of a 3-day high-performance training camp held in Nairobi, organized by the Kenya Golf Union in conjunction with the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of Scotland. Top pros and amateur golfers will swing into action on Saturday in Rwanda. The series has so far seen 12 teams qualify for the much-awaited Pro-Am Grand Finale that will host 132 players at the current country club on November 24th. The KCB East Africa Golf Tour will then proceed to the 18-hole Nyali Golf Club on November 4th for another competitive showpiece. Meanwhile, Kenya, Egypt and Zimbabwe are the only countries that benefited from the 3-day high-performance training camp organized by the Kenya Golf Union in conjunction with the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews in Scotland. The 12 junior golf players carefully selected by the Kenya Golf Union, the Kenya Ladies Golf Union and the Junior Golf Foundation.
Right after this high performance, we're putting the elite squad into a camp for about 5 months, where they'll be training for 2 to 3 times a week, and then a squad for the Africa Junior Championships is going to be done in January.
Through the high performance training, we've learned a lot, especially for me. There's some slight changes in my swing and my technique. Paul Mackenzie from from South Africa, he just ran that back. Yeah. Daniel
Kiragu, Elvis Moigwa, Mikael Kihara, among others were the players who took part in the training. The Africa High Performance Program is crucial, the long-term goal of qualifying golfers for the 2028 Olympic Games.
And Kenya Chess League leaders KCB are hopeful of registering impressive results at the Mombasa Open scheduled Saturday and Sunday at Mombasa Beach Hotel.
59 players have enlisted to participate in the tournament. Total regional chess players and emerging will be gunning for various prize pursuits in different categories. KCB chess team will be captained by candidate Master Benjamin Magana, who will be joined by FINDE Masters Martin Joroge, Joyce Nyaruai, Banan Guku, and Rising Wiz Robert Magligeo, among others. The overall winner will bag 50,000 shillings. 20,000 shillings will be awarded to a lady winner, while junior winner will receive trophies.
All of our players are ready for the battle with the foreigners who are coming from Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi and Rwanda. It will be a very challenging tournament, and it will really help local players to up their games.
KCB will be banking on its form in National League, where it leads the standing ahead of Equity Chess Club, Nairobi Chess Club and Nairobi Chess Academy Club. Kioria, For Prime Edition Sports.
And to European football now, where England qualified for the Euro 2024 after beating Italy 3-1.
Italy beat England at Wembley to win Euro 2020, but the Three Lions have gone some way. But Harry Kane equalized from the penalty spot before halftime, but then produced a superb second half display with further goals from Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane sealing the win.
Well, you're now in the know, and that marks the end of our Prime Edition Sports tonight. I'm Bernardo Kumo. Thank you so much for watching, but stay tuned. John Jacob Kioria is on the other side with a debate on marking 13 years of devolution, and of course with the Mashujaa Day coming up on Friday. We'll stand by for that particular discussion, where he is engaging Deputy Governor for Machakos County as well as the Member of Parliament for Matuga, Honorable Kasim Tandaza. Have a very good evening. I'm Bernardo Kumo.
Mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Mungu awabariki sana.
Ni wengi wanakushukuru bila hata wewe kufahamu.
Niliona Mungu wa ajabu ameshuka.
Ni wengi wanaokuaminia.
Imejaa, imebaki, yani hamtasabi.
Ni wengi wanaokuombea ushindi.
Hawa ndio niachiwe na mama yao wakati aliwajeka kwa muda.
Ni wengi unaowagusa kwa kuwapa afueni na imani ya maisha.
Asante na Mungu akubariki pia.
Ni wengi unawatembelea.
Through hii program ndo tunajua vitu zingine.
Na imani yako inawapa amani.
Akaaga juu ya kansa.
Ushindi wako ni wa wengi.
Roma niendanga, Roma.
Asante mchezaji wa Loto Moto.
Kwa hivyo Bazenga unasema wewe ni mtu ya mbogi ya Ulolo.
Sasa wewe unaongelesha huu mzee lugha gani?
Nasema tena timia ati nilisukuma wewe. Nikieleza mahakama, wheelchair yako ulikuja weka lock. Normally usipoweka lock itarudisha reverse. Ikarudisha wewe reverse, ikaende kaangusha wewe huko. Orongo tupu.
Wewe kazi yako ilikuwa umeletewa mgonjwa utibu ama uangalie kama ana marasmus ama anafanya vitu gani?
I was supposed to treat him.
Na mbona hukufanya hiyo ilivyotakiwa?
Akarudi nyuma.
Sasa mimi nampelekeanga nampatianga msosi, nampikia msosi, vitu kama hizo.
Msosi nini?
Chakula.
Endelea.
Wewe ulisaliwa wapi wewe?
Wewe.
Vitu kama hizo ujue.
Wewe endelea.
Umesema unaitwa Sylvester.
In short silly.
Silly. Silly.
Yes.
Mse, ukamboleta hospitali.
Ndio.
Nikienda kumutibu, wheelchair ikarudi nyuma. Si ndio?
Hapana, no. Wewe ndio ulimsukuma. Sema ukweli. Ndio hii mahakama ikunyonge.
Let us go slowly.
Ni kweli, hiyo ndio kitu imebaki.
It's time for a conversation tonight. We're talking about 13 years on, of course, since we got ourselves the Mashujaa Day, other than Kenyatta Day. And the Mashujaa Day celebrations are upcoming on the 20th, that is this Friday. And therefore, we have a long conversation to have as we look at the 13 years of governance under the new constitution. And I'm joined by the Honorable Francis Mwangangi. He's the Deputy Governor, Machakos County, and the Honorable Kasim Tandaza, Member of Parliament for Matuga in Kwale County. Both of you gentlemen are very much welcome so that we can have this robust debate. Probably to start us off, Mheshimiwa, I start with the Mheshimiwa Mwangangi because of what is ongoing in Mavoko. And probably from the point of understanding, for Kenyans to understand, are you opposed to the demolitions or are you opposed to the manner of demolitions?
Manner.
Okay.
Yes.
Manner of demolitions in what sense?
First and foremost, first I thank God and yourself for the invite.
Karibu.
Secondly, I go straight to your question. There are two things. One, before any construction in an urban center in this country, there has to be processes for you to arrive at even starting that construction. I believe people affected at Mavoko followed those procedures by both national government and county government. And they were given an okay. We did not stop there. There is even a polling station. There are schools, there are churches, there are government officials, both county and national. How did we arrive at that? So if for sure it was a must that we demolish, it was also very important the national government involves the county government, because we have a stake, we have a role to play. Under 2010 constitution, you cannot just do what the national government is doing. And I'm telling you, in a country where rule of law is followed, I can assure you, I don't see whoever ordered that demolition can win that case in court. Number 3, the fact that we were not involved, naturally, before you even go into demolish, you could have issued a notice, because there was a court case that determined who the owner of the land is. Then from there, there's always a room to go and maybe you are given some days to even appeal.
You're saying there was no notice?
There wasn't. Completely there wasn't. What I've seen a fellow who was appointed as the chair the other day of East African Portland Cement, saying in 2016 there was a notice. A notice 2016 when court case came out last week. Are we serious on what we are saying? Really? Right. So in this case, naturally, it would have been fair that the national government, whoever is behind it, whoever wants this land, allowed people to be given notice, so that people can remove their items, can remove their belongings. And you ask yourself another question. Every day we are being told of the effects of El Nino rains. Every day we are being told on the upcoming national examinations. Now, what is going to happen to those students who are candidates? Where are we as county government, even as national government, where are we going to take these people?
Those are very pertinent questions you ask, DG. But Mheshimiwa Tandaza, there appears to be no contention on the illegality of occupation on that piece of land. What leaders in Machakos County, probably the part of your position, are arguing is the manner in which the demolitions have been executed. What is your take?
Thank you for having me back in this show. When it comes to demolitions, definitely it's a zero-sum game. It's really disrupts lives of the families, children, the whole family unit. It's just painful to any Kenyan, that is for sure. But on this matter, when it comes to issues land is a very emotive matter. But let's start with a very simple case, which could be a matter in law, and I'm not a lawyer myself, I'm a civil engineer by profession. If somebody steals this phone and sells this to you, and then I later on discover that you bought a stolen phone, what should I do? Do I leave it with you because you bought it? No. I need to get it back, isn't it? I think that is a very simple manner to illustrate this whole issue. But having said that, there are people who should actually be brought to honor. Certainly the Minister of Land, the Land Registry. I believe if somebody got a title, and for this case, it is within the Minister of Land to the extent that you can use to actually do your plans and approve the issues of green card and all that. It's about the corrupt officer who did that, you see. Because even if it was a land buying company, for it to get a title, to have it in the land registry to the extent that people can have approved the plans, then some officers colluded. Where are they? Are they all dead? And if they are dead, are there any other steps that can be taken? I believe these people are alive and well because they got a lot of money by that fraudulent transaction. They should be living well. So for sure, ESCC should go straight for these officers. You know, paper trail never disappears all of a sudden. Their signatures, those titles have a signature of the registrar plus the number. The land registrars have numbers, you see, as they stamp those on. That's somebody that should be taken to book. But unfortunately, in our case, things just go to the tail end without actually rooting the problem. If one was to go for the root cause of the problem, then you don't expect it to recur. But because now it's like the moment I can do my deal, have fraudulent papers, sell to unsuspecting people, get my money, ni shauri yao. Whatever happens, for me, I'm safe.
All right.
That is the problem.
Okay.
It's not about Portland. Even in my constituency in Kwale, we have historical issues where the people who are living on that area, some papers were done somewhere, and people now are coming with title deeds to say, hey, this is my place. This is a family which has been there for ages, you see. But now, what happens? The government goes with the side of that one who has a paper without going into the detail on how that paper is got, and they know very well that was fraudulent because there are people living there. So certainly there are government departments which are not doing justice to this country.
And they need a cleanup.
They need a cleanup, like yesterday, for sure.
Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, yesterday the County Assembly of Machakos approved what you would say a compensation, a motion rather, focusing on compensation. I would want to know, because of the issues you've highlighted around the injustice, to these owners of these houses, how do you seek to approach this matter as the county government of Machakos?
Before I go there, please allow me I respond to two issues arising from what the honourable member for Matunga said. I think there's no question of stealing. Remember your question, I responded to a question of are we protesting against the land or the manner? Because, Mheshimiwa, and the viewers, this case is not over. Because about the legality, as far as we are concerned as a county government, we have our position. And we are now applying to the court to be enjoined. Because now we have become an interested party. Remember, under the 2010 Constitution, such lands reverted back to counties. And I can tell you, the increment that was there from the beginning was to have East African Portland Cement to go do mining, and after which they were to return the land to original form and hand it back the land. It wasn't to sell
to the community.
But because there is our lawyers and ourselves will be moving to court to prove such issues. It is not good for me to start articulating them to this at this forum.
Okay.
So in this case, I think coming back to what our assembly did, it is a responsible assembly. They are giving first. They urged the executive to make sure we are enjoined into this matter in court. Number two is they applied. We see the best way to have our people compensated. And when we talk of about our people, there are people who are mistaking as though we are speaking about the Kamba community who are predominantly the majority there. No. In Mavoko, we have everybody from Kenya in that particular part of this country. And we are fighting for their rights. We will join them and ensure justice prevailed. It is so bad. You know, Martin Luther King once said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So in this case, we want to seek justice for these people. Politically speaking, I'm not sure the top leadership of this country, they were playing politics with Kenyans, or they were serious. I remember after Dandora, night evictions, they stood all of them and said such a thing will never happen during their watch as leaders of this country. What has happened? These Kenyans, you mean they did not vote? Is it not the same government that allowed for even a polling center in that particular area? Is it not the same government that has sent their officials there? Are we saying when the government that did that was an illegitimate government? So I think in this case, let's be a little bit fair and avoid politicking when our people are suffering.
Quite an interesting one. Mheshimiwa Tandaza, the politics of it, just like Mheshimiwa alludes to it.
Yeah.
Part of the most interesting thing is to see the opposition there yesterday, and of course they were refused entry into the demolition site, and the politics that have come out of it. Yet there are local leaders, political leaders inside Machakos County who have been accused of defrauding these people who are now who are experiencing demolition.
The problem with us Kenyans is we like politics everywhere, and we are good at politicizing anything that comes our way. Remember, I can recall that it is even during Governor Mutua, the predecessor of His Excellency Mwangangi and the governor, who actually wrote a letter to SCC that land is being grabbed and being subdivided, being sold by scrupulous people. That is the same county of Machakos. It was not the national government which did that. Remember, Mheshimiwa, there's been a court case. Now the question reaches a point where we say, do we still be in the era of disobeying court cases, which has been the norm? And this time you will say it can be disobeyed because it favors you. But next time it can be disobeyed against you, and then you say now you can see the government is disobeying court cases. But having said that, of course a politician will always try to get mileage out of everything. But to me, the genesis of the whole issue is that it was a criminal activity that gave birth to what is happening now. And the point will be, at what point do we stop this? Because today it could be the East African Portland land. There are so many other parcels of land country nationally belonging to the national government, belonging to several agencies. We've had issues of ADC, the ADC parcels of land all over the country being grabbed and people coming up with titles. We have had cases of even the mayor's houses, those government houses within the cities being grabbed. At what point are we going to put an end to that one? So here it is a question of the balancing of the whole issue. If he says that the Portland, the land for the East African Portland, was to revert back to the county of Machakos, I don't think that is the correct position, because there are some assets which are national and some other areas which are county. For that case, then I would argue Mombasa Port, for me, who is coming from coast then, should have reverted to the county government of Mombasa, and that has been debated for quite a while.
All right.
So I think we need, as Kenyans, to reach a point where everybody is called to order. People start behaving in the rightful manner that they should be behaving, especially the government officers, because all the problems of land that we are having, the squatter problem, the issues of conflict and whatever, they actually start with the government officers. And that is the government of the day. At what point do we stop that? We need a point, at least get a cut line where we are saying it's no longer business as usual.
All right. Mr. Mwangangi, you have a response?
Yes. Mheshimiwa, we are not saying East African Portland Cement to revert to county government of Machakos. That is a national parastatal.
But it has its assets, including the land, isn't it?
The land wasn't theirs originally. We just gave, there was an agreement that the people vacate the land for mining. After the mineral is extracted, the land was to, it is the land, not the company.
I assume these documents are in the custody of Machakos County government.
Yes.
Which year was that agreement? Because East African Portland has been there for ages before the county government came in.
Let me tell you something. By the way, there is a title deed that was issued in the year 1962. Okay? And that land, that title, nobody in this country has ever produced an alternative. I can tell you that title, people have been paying rates, both to even the time of municipalities. And Also, whatever was necessary, those people have been paying, even when the land was still with the under mining of East African Portland cement. That has to be, but because there's a court case, we will prove that. What we are saying, in short, is nobody is going to cover anyone. Okay? If Mwangangi grabbed this land and sold to X, Y, Z, let the law take its course. That is the position. What we are against is the business of demolishing. A court case is ruled on Thursday, and that same evening, tractors are on site, NYS tractors. Does it mean somebody somewhere was waiting for this to happen? Does it mean somebody sat somewhere and knew what kind of ruling judiciary would make so that they can just move in? What we are saying is, let us all respect the rule of law. What we are saying is natural justice. Instead of just coming and demolishing everything, give people time, at least either 10, 15, or 1 month. You know, you call for a baraza and tell them, this is the court ruling. You are supposed to exit from this particular land, and we give you 14 days, 10 days, please vacate, because we are going to move in and repossess the land. Number two, if today this place belongs to me, and you have already settled into it, and I want to evict you, so you can as well move to court and get eviction order to come and serve me. You give me 20, 21 days for you to vacate. That is the law. It is not me, it is not you, it is not Mheshimiwa. It is the law. Let us follow the law.
All right. Mheshimiwa Tandaza, as we wind up on this matter, so we get into other issues, why the government stands in the dock. Looking at the people who are supposed to be paraded before the DCI, because we saw the summons yesterday, other than, the Member of Parliament for Mavoko, officials of IMIMALU, Kenya, and then there's about former county commissioners of Machakos County. We have not seen serious summons being served to officers who approved schools in that area, officers who approved construction in that area. Much of what we've seen is just what the summons that were issued yesterday, but don't really focus on the picture that you were talking about going for the real culprits.
That is my position, and that is where I actually have a problem on the government agencies when it comes to solving such issues. To me, I'm going to repeat myself. What they should summon is to get a copy of the title. They know the registrar, they know the person who did the PDP, they know the planner who did it, to get whether really the Ministry of Lands, the Survey of Kenya, up to what level it had approved. Because for such lands, sometimes it even requires a cabinet memo. Was there any? And once that is done, then the government officers themselves will know from today henceforth, I cannot get rich by just doing some paperwork for me to get money. These other people who approved, of course, I have such a problem, even in my constituency where, as I had initially said, somebody comes with a title, the title is registered with the land registrar in Kwale, goes there, goes to the DC, says, I want police to be shown my land. He has a document. So the DC calls the chief and says, I'm sending you somebody so that to show him a piece of land or her. When he goes there, this is land which is fully developed with graves and everything. People have been living there in eternity. Now, you cannot say that this is wrong because he has sent somebody. The person who is wrong is the one who issued that title deed, knowing very well that that land is not available for allocation. So that is the same position that will be. Otherwise, from the way we are going, anybody will do it again and do it again, knowing after that, me, I'll not be called upon. And maybe I'm suspecting probably those who actually the architects of that defrauding those people are untouchable, because why go for the small? These are not even fish. Naita daga hata si samaki, because if you go over account of ni daga hata si samaki. Why not go for the big fish? Those who are sitting on those high offices in the Ministry of Lands.
All right, Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, I can tell
my position.
You disappointment, but Mashujade is coming. What do you expect to hear from the president during this Mashujade celebrations?
First, On that specific question, I'm disappointed with our national parliament, both Senate and National Assembly. I know the head of state is out of the country. I know there were laws that were introduced to transform and introduce universal health coverage and ensure it is implemented in Kenya. And in fact, I'm from a county event which was presided over by my governor about the same. But where the disappointment comes in is it's like the Kenya Kwanza, where engineer I think it belongs.
Sure.
Are saying everybody in now former NHIF, it's like it's a thief because they are expected. Unajua tuliambiwa mambo ni matatu. They are expected to either they apply to the new agency, they either exit or they either go to public service through the Public Service Commission. Now, we had one president whose we know is the father of transformation in this country. The rest I cannot comment because I don't know. We had President Kibaki, who was one-time minister. He rose to become vice president. He went on to become leader of opposition. But all that time, it is like the country was stagnant somewhere development-wise. When President Kibaki late, na Mungu amulaze pema, when he rose to become and occupied the office of the presidency in this country, we know the transformation that that particular president brought during his period. Now, when we brand employees who are Kenyans, we brand them, it is like they are this, they don't fit, we want to kick them away, we bring ours. What kind of, which country is this? Where are we heading as a country? I thought, because I really sympathized with the manner in which the current top leadership was harassed. It was blatant everywhere. Everybody could see, even to an extent of, I remember one time, I was seeing somebody throwing tear gas in a church before the then deputy president arrived. I thought after they came in, after going through all that suffering, after even seeing the then Madira MP being arrested early in the morning, being harassed, I thought these things will come to an end. Why now? I don't understand.
It's an interesting question you raised, Mheshimiwa Tandasa. I think Mheshimiwa Mwangangi is putting the Kenya Kwanza side of legislators on the dock. I think there was an amendment introduced by Senator Sifuna in the Senate. Probably it will come to your chamber. But on that charge, the requirements of universal health care, particularly the NHIF staff.
What is the position of NHIF now, where we are now moving to universal health coverage? I think it is all in public domain, but that a few months ago, it was in the red. Why was it in the red? Were people not contributing? I think mandatory, even you, though you don't use it and I might not be using it, we still contribute to NHIF. But why was it in the red? Hospitals were not rendering services. Private hospitals were not rendering services because they have not been paid. The government hospitals pretend to be rendering services. I'm using the word pretending because one, they don't have enough staff. Two, they don't have the medicines that is required. They end up giving a Panadols where necessary or nothing at all, give you a prescription for you to go and buy. Is that the state of affairs that we would want to continue to live with? I think that is, to me, the elephant in the room. For how long are we going to live with an NHF which is supposed to be providing top-notch medical care for their contributors, and it's not doing it, you see? So certainly, if we continue that way, we don't expect it. And that is why there was need now to rebrand, to actually re-engineer the work of NHF and now the universal health coverage so that it can actually perform. Are there bad people in the NHF? Yes. just like in any other government institution. I don't think there's any government institution, be it the police, the judiciary, and wherever, the Ministry of Traffic Department, Roads Department, people are there. So what is wrong in getting rid of the bad people, you see? If you are good, why worry? Because it is there. I've been participating in that legislation up to yesterday when we passed it, and we were hoping that His Excellency will be able to launch the universal health coverage during the Mashujaa Day, you see. So what is wrong? Are we going to protect these forever and ever because probably these are our cousins and our brothers and whatever? We cannot continue like that. A point has reached where now this Kenya Kwanza government is saying you either align to serve or you ship out. Yeah, mambo matatu hiyo ni issue nyingine, but here there are two things. And nobody is going to be sacked. Here has no problem. You see, when a new organization comes in, like the one which is coming under universal health coverage, one can say, I don't want to work in this organization anymore. And for it to be realigned and re-engineered, certainly the CEO, the Director General actually will be having the Director General, should be able to get a team that is going to deliver the Kenya Kwanza mandate, the Kenya Kwanza manifesto when it comes to universal health coverage. It is difficult to teach old dogs new tricks, isn't it? Yeah, but of course some few dogs might learn, but basically if you want to get things done, you cannot use the same people who have not been having things done. So I also have relatives in NHIF. I have some friends, I have some colleagues. If they've been working diligently, well and good, and I can assure you they are not going to lose their jobs. But it's not just about universal health coverage. I'm hoping that after this we'll move into the other departments to clean up so that now we can have our government delivering the mandate that they promised. Otherwise they cannot continue with the same people. And not only in NHIF, even in the other departments.
In the other departments. Very quickly.
I think I'm praying so much that one day, one time, we will delink our politics of greedy, the greediness, to our public service. I'm saying so. When I gave an example of President Kibaki, I meant he was an effective leader all through, but because of the environment in which he was before he rose to presidency, he could not do what he did as a president. I'm not saying there are no bad people, but because Kenya Kwanza knows them, why can't they deal with such other than a blanket institution that these people are this, these are this? Because eventually, you know, we have seen the appointments so far. And from what I've witnessed from these demolitions in Mavoko, I'm beginning to think, I think there could be maybe institutions capture, what in international relations they call state capture.
State capture.
Because I don't see. There are decisions which are being made and we are saying, wait a minute. You know, I said and kneeled down to pray when the current administration won. Because of one, what they went through, how they were treated, and lastly, these are career public officers. And I knew for sure, for once, this country will now going to be on the path of transformation. But some of the decisions, I'm saying, I think we, Mheshimiwa Tadasa, we need to be fair. These are Kenyans.
I'm under pressure to wind up as you make that because the initial question is, what do you expect President William Ruto to address the two things that you think are critical in his speech on Friday? Very quickly.
Definitely, this is a forum where Kenyans expect the scorecard, they expect the head of state, they expect the chief of executive to actually articulate on the issues that actually hurt them most. We've been talking about the cost of living for quite a long time. The rains have come, maize is there. I don't know, it cannot be as serious as it used to be. The prices have come down and the supermarkets, for those who buy, most of us use unga from the shamba, so the price is zero. Of course, the issues on universal, the affordable housing, it's unfortunate that most Kenyans up to now have not been able to actually realize the importance and how it's going to impact and change the way we've been doing things, we've been looking at things when it comes to housing. So those are some of the issues which I think Kenyans need to take more keen interest and actually understand on what is happening. And finally, if we get an opportunity to talk about the fuel, which also Kenyans, you know, sometimes people just lack information, you know, and I think those are the areas where the government as a whole, from the president, should be able to tell Kenyans, look, this is where we are, this is how we are going to progress, but overall, we are getting better and better. We need to have hope for this country. We have nowhere else to go. I don't think Somalia will be willing to welcome us, nor Uganda on the other side. So it's us to make Kenya better from the president, and I have a lot of faith in him.
Absolutely. Mheshimiwa Mwangangi, you've shown his disappointment. I'm not sure whether you have any expectations.
No. Yes, I have. I'm a Kenyan.
Very quickly.
First one is the strategies. His Excellency the President is going to apply to bring down the cost of living. It is extremely too high. Number two, if the current policies continue, millions of Kenyans will be pushed to poverty from the current status. That one I can tell you for sure. Let him specifically, because he's the one who swore. And the sword he was given at Kasarani, si ya kuweka hapo, ni ya kujonosha vitu ikuwe sawa sawa. So I wish he can apply the same to ensure things are moving the way they should and the rule of law is followed. Finally, I think President is keen on attracting foreign direct investment into this country. How is that climate when everything ranging from fuel, high taxation regime, those are not things. I know, I've been a member of parliament and I know the state of the economy, but there is no country that can be pulled from the current economic almost depression by high taxation regime. That one I've never seen anywhere in the world. I think they need to relook at that policy and tell Kenyans because that is what Mashujaa is all about. Yes.
All right. And clearly the weight is heavily on the shoulders of the president as Mashujaa Day beckons. That is on Friday. I'm sure he will have returned from China where he is on an official visit, and then we'll be able to see what he says on Friday. Mheshimiwa Kasim Tandaza from Matuga, thank you very much for joining us tonight, as well as the Deputy Governor Machakos, the Honorable Francis Mwangangi. It's been a pleasure having you tonight. This is where we put a cap on Prime Edition. Have yourself a fantastic night ahead. God bless you.
Beba. Kujisqueeze hapo watano kusqueeze. Hapana. Maybe excess. Nini wewe shughulika na steering, mimi niko huko nyuma na watu. Mnavuja sheria bwana. Tutashikwa na makarao.
Usalama barabarani ni jukumu letu sote. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na the European Union.
All holders are notified to report and surrender unclaimed financial assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, UFAA, on or before November 1st, 2023. It is now easier to report and surrender. Visit www.ufaa.go.ke and get started. Beat the November 1st deadline. It is your turn to surrender and report qualifying unclaimed financial assets. Pass the baton. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
Beba. Kujisqueeze hapo watano kusqueeze. Hapana. Maybe excess. Nini wewe shughulika na steering, mimi niko huko nyuma na watu. Mnavuja sheria bwana. Tutashikwa na makarao. Mimi sitaki noma na polisi. Si overdo na ku risk life yao wase. Hapana. Anyewe for once umebonga sense. Leo umebonga kama dere smart. Anyway, nimekusikia basi. Oya, excess. Oya, shuka, sibebi excess. Oya, sibebi excess. Watu wafunga mshipi Oya, Kadere, uende sasa. Na uende pole uchunga watu wa nduthi na watu wa miguu. Na hiyo simu weka chini wewe. Sawa? Kaende sana.
Usalama barabarani ni jukumu letu sote. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na the European Union.
Tuache kudanganyana. Hapa mali safi, mali mbichi, kijani kibichi. Tuko Lucky Game, tunashibishana. Dial *570#. Chagua sanduku ya Lucky Game. Utapata sanduku 7 zinakungoja mahali pale. Chagua yako. Mali kibao, tuko na viti, tuko na vifriji hapa, tuko na TV, tuko na microwave, na pia tuko na chapa. All happening kwa *570#. Jishibishe.
My name is Harry Kimtai. I am the Principal Secretary, State Department for Medical Services, Ministry of Health. I am delighted to inform Kenyans that our systems are set as we move towards achieving our goals in the universal health coverage agenda. Kenya has trained the best specialists in health, and we are able to distribute products and technologies to every health facility through Kenya Medical Supplies Authority. As a country, we have set levels of services starting with community, dispensaries, health centers, and referral hospitals. The services that are supposed to be provided at every level are well outlined, and we are now at the level where some services are offered at household level. I call upon Kenyans to now take up the responsibility of